as well. So the senior team has to continue playing football because no fans go to football. So that's the only way the TTFA gets income besides their normal subsidiary out of the out of FIFA. So it's also an economic reason as well, right, for them to continue, right, playing their football. What you are speaking about, though, is absolutely correct, meaning that for us to really be at that level, it's another 8 years. I'm saying 8 years. Now, I am hopeful that we qualify for, I am hopeful we qualify for this World Cup. Not only the Gold Cup, but I'm also hopeful that we qualify for the World Cup because we have 4 teams are going to be chosen.
Plus we have 4.
Without the USA, without Mexico, without Canada, right?
Yes.
4 other teams. So CONCACAF will have 7 teams, right, in this World Cup. And if we don't start with a proper youth program now for the next 4 years, very strong, traveling team, going and getting beaten in the African nations, in the European countries, in the South American countries, by the time it comes around, we will have enough experience that we should be there and, right, make a difference. This last World Cup was very surprising and interesting with all those unrecognized teams
coming in, showing
right, Morocco and the South Korea and Saudi Arabia beating right the top of the crop. And I see Trinidad could be one of those teams in the future. But those teams, if you look at their development program, and that's why, you know, God rest his soul, but I believed in the vision of David John Williams, of having a home of football, understanding what development is, understanding that you have to develop the youths for us to eventually get, and if that continues, Trinidad will get there. But if it doesn't continue and we just keep on producing senior team players at age 24 and 25, our senior team players have to be at 16, 17, 18, 19. That should be the crop of our senior team group. So I am hopeful.
But, and to piggyback on what you just said, players have to be 16, 17, 18. But if we keep playing older players, they don't get the opportunity.
At this stage, that has to start from under 12, under 8, under 10 for us to make it to right where we want to go for the World Cup. I'm not speaking about now. I'm speaking about 4 years down the road. And I'm speaking about we need to start to develop our under 14s, under 12s, and have them traveling.
But we have been doing that.
No, we have not. And we haven't been doing that for a while.
I thought we had an under 15 team that they called them, they had a name for them. Like, it was like, I can't remember the name, but they had a big, strong effort on this under 15 squad.
Yes.
Moving forward.
Right, right. What I remember was that in part of the philosophy of the administration before the United TTFA, they went, Dennis Lawrence was in national coach. They had, for me at that time, the best coach in the country, Stuart Charles Fevrier. And he was in charge of the youth program. When everybody thought that, okay, Stuart Charles supposed to, in fact, he topped the ranking for national coach. In the wisdom of David John Williams, he decided, listen, he is preparing the youths. And he sent, and Stuart is very good with youth. He's very patient, he's very methodical, and therefore he sent him there to have the under 15 team, to have the under 12 team, and Stuart was going wrong with all the youth teams. The United TTFA came in, and that stopped. And then the Normalization Committee came in, and that was not their focus. Their focus was to bring financial stability to the TTFA. Please remember that the Normalizations Committee focus is not to administer to have proper administration of football in Trinidad and Tobago. Their main focus, financial stability. Right? That is not so. For football to move forward, Steve, we need educated football minds at the helm now and in the future.
Okay, so based on what you're saying now, is what's our chances going forward into the Gold Cup if we depending on a few of the older guys who's been around the park a few times, and we don't have the quality players to blend with that?
The major thing now, I think we will qualify, right, first and foremost. Right, for the Gold Cup.
Because?
I think we have a decent, they are older, but they are quality players. The issue will be their fitness. And I know Angus has been dealing with them, with their fitness prior to coming to training. So I'm hopeful that we have a fit squad. We have a very experienced squad, and we have a very skillful squad, especially if right, the Joneses and these guys, right, I understand even Molino was...
He was injured, right?
Right, and I understand he is also back. He's supposed to be one of the guys, and he's a real goal scorer. So, so hopefully we have experienced quality players. I'm just concerned with their fitness.
All right, let me take a break. When we come back, we continue where we left off. Viewers, we'll be right back after the short break.
Trinbago Heritage, every Wednesday at 8 p.m. on NCBN TT Television Network.
Change Talk TV, tell us I'm better stay calm, be cool.
Okay, welcome back, viewers. For the ones not tuning in, you're looking at Field of Dreams on NCBN TT, and I'm Steve David, host of Field of Dreams. With me is Anthony Clarke. And Tony, like we were talking before about, placing in the Gold Cup and stuff and going there and getting there. So let's talk about our games coming up, right? On June 16th is the first game?
On June 16th, we play Guadeloupe.
Okay.
Very tough this, I call them Central Americans, right? The Central American teams have always been a challenge,
Right.
for Trinidad and Tobago, even when I was playing back in the day. You know, you meet the Costa Ricas, you meet the Guadeloupes, they're very skillful and nippy, and, so our fitness will be very, very important for those games because they always play a fast-paced style of football. And in our group, I think it's Guadeloupe, St. Vincent.
That's St. Lucia?
St. Lucia, Guadeloupe,
Martinique.
and Martinique.
Right.
So Martinique and Guadeloupe, I see as being our main challenge there. However, please remember that Earl John and Stuart Charles are back in St. Lucia.
St. Lucia?
And I know they have been working with the St. Lucian team, and you have a team coached by Stuart Charles Favre. You also have to watch out for St. Lucia. So it's a very hard group.
I got a surprise for you. Curacao is playing St. Kitts.
No, but that's in the other group, right?
That's in the other group?
No, yeah, that's in the other group.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
Let's see, Steve. We have the...
So we only have 4 in our group then?
Yes, 4 in our group and 4 in the other group.
All right, the other group.
Yes.
So we had to get by Martinique.
Yes, we have to get by Martinique.
That our first game probably be a big challenging game. That would set the tone for how we do in that tournament.
Yes, it will. We must win that first game. That first game is a must-win game, right? Because it will put pressure on Martinique now to beat the other teams in case we falter. But the first game is a must-win game against Guadeloupe.
And that's where we play that game?
We play in that game in Fort Lauderdale on the 16th of June, right in Fort Lauderdale.
That is 2 weeks away, but...
2 weeks away. So that's why I'm saying that I hope that... I understand that Angus chose a squad of 60 players. I don't know if they are presently in the U.S. or if they are still in Trinidad. Maybe our director could tell us.
No,
so they're in Trinidad from today. I think the group comes together from today in Trinidad, and that is my problem.
How you control 60 players, man?
But not only 60 players. I mean, I can see him having 60 players because he clearly has a B squad that, he needs to have game because it's, he needs game practice right now, right? So he has a B squad of, a quality B squad that he knows is not going to make it, and he will have real combative. So I understand the 60 players, right? These 60 players is not that you're going to choose from those 60 to get your team. He clearly will have a B squad, right? And he will know who he's looking at, right? But you need combative games every training session because we're going into games. This is not about fitness. This is not about technique. This is not about skill to learn skill at this point in time. This is match fitness. So I understand the 60 players. What I don't understand is 2 weeks before the tournament, and this is not Coach Eve's fault, right? Let me say this up front. This has to do with the TTFA because the European season is done. The European season has been done for a while. Right?
A week?
No, that's only the final, most of our players are not in the Premier Leagues.
Okay.
Then the second division leagues and third division leagues, which have been done for about a month now. Right? So having these players back here for a month or 3 weeks should have been the norm. We come here with 2 weeks to go and to have proper preparation, that's my problem.
So what chance you give us then?
my hope and my optimism is in knowing who the coach is. My optimism is I know Angus is a very engaging coach. He engages with his players, even he would have engaged with all his foreign players on a regular basis, with video calls or who on, and telling them what he expects of them, what he wants from them, encouraging them that when they come. So I am hoping that they are fit first and foremost. I am hoping that he spoke tactics with them, they understand his methodology, his approach, his strategy, and therefore when he comes here, it's really to fine-tune the team. This team has been together and have played in a couple tournaments over the last 2 years. So they kind of know each other, right? And they understand each other. My only hope is that they're fit. And if they're fit, we're going to make it past Guadeloupe, past the Martiniques, past the St. Lucia. So
I'm thinking, I'm sitting here, I'm listening to you. I'm thinking we don't have any local games. So we can't even get our people together in the bandwagon to support this group.
Well,
and
you have a very large Trinidad community and Caribbean community in Miami, right? In Florida. And I know that you'll have a lot of support in Florida. I've played in Caribbean tournaments, but there's always a Trinidad team anywhere you go in Florida, even if it's Miami, Orlando, Port St. Lucie, wherever there are there's a Trinidadian team playing amongst the Central and South American teams, and we win most of them. So there's a large Caribbean and, Trinidadian community in South Florida. And I expect, in fact, I've been hearing, I've been invited, but I don't come up for the games, right? And I might consider it. But I expect we'll have a lot of support. The Trinidadian game is a game that, once there is noise, Trinidad, we are not like the Europeans that have special chants and so on. Once there's a rhythm and noise and a hum in the stadium, we will play good football.
We had to have a, what do you call them,
right.
The rhythm section.
Rhythm section, yes.
But, so, if we get to this group, we don't go to the, we don't go to the World Cup.
We still have to play, second place in the other group, and then once we win that game, then we qualify. There are 3 more teams to close off the contingent for the Gold Cup. There's always a guest. I think that guest is Qatar from the African Football Confederation. And then the 2 group winners, not the 2 group winners, the final 2 from this tournament.
Okay, so let's keep our fingers crossed and keep our hope alive, and hopefully we get there.
Yes.
All right. There's also another football tournament that we hope to be engaged in club-wise soon, because our TT Premier League has now selected the top 3 teams.
That's Police.
That's Port Spain AC. Police. And Club Sando. Right.
They're not going to pass the first round. None of them.
They are, what do you mean they're not going to pass the first round?
Steve, our quality, that I have played in many a Caribbean club football tournament. And our club level of football now is horrendous. I have not seen, this is the lowest standard, and I'll give the benefit of the doubt that all right, we haven't played football for 3 years. It was hurriedly put together. and right, nobody was in right proper training and so on, and it had COVID, so you really couldn't right mix and mingle and so on. So I understand the excuses, but the teams that used to play Caribbean club football and go on to play CONCACAF club football were the Defense Forces, the Trintox. Those were the two teams back in the day. I remember playing against Hatistuta in the final of the Caribbean, of the CONCACAF Club Championships. And we lost 1-0 in the National Stadium. I think that was the famous Argentinian club team.
Argentina?
No, anyway, I can't remember. But we lost 1-0 to and Hatistuta is the one that scored a header on me. And that is how deep in the competition Trinidad teams used to go. We used to reach the CONCACAF playoffs and play against these big South American teams and so on. I mean, we had a really nice squad. That is the days that Latapi, Leonson, Lewis, Brand Williams was young, Clayton Morris was young. It was, the Trinidad team. And we used to reach very deep in those, very, very deep in those tournaments. We have not come out the Caribbean group in a while, in a bit. And I don't expect us to come out the Caribbean group now.
Funny, the only team I can remember that did half decent, or I used to watch while I was living in the U.S., was the team with Dwarka and those guys.
That's Joe Public. So that was him after us, right? And Joe Public, I don't think they even played in the CONCACAF club, championships.
Yeah, they didn't get past.
No, they didn't get past the Caribbean stage as well. We always faltered when we had to play the Jamaican clubs in the thing. I mean, back in the day, when we had to play in Jamaica, you had all sorts of intimidation. You saw the management, management of the Harbour Vale or whatever it was called back in the day. He was coming with his jacket and you could clearly see a firearm there. And I understand it's Jamaica, so it may not have been to intimidate us, but we would have gone to the Martiniques and it was fun back in those days playing football, Steve. And it's a shame we are where we are today.
But we have the Army who has the experience,
it's the Army and not police.
No, the Army. The Army
so it's Port of Spain AC,
Army
and Club Sando, right, and not police.
Yeah, no.
All right, okay, understood.
So Army has that experience.
Yes.
So we will hopefully.
Well, all right, that then changes my thought. I hope the Army could reach somewhere.
And they have some good players.
Yeah. So it was basically Trintock back in the day, and the Defense Force that used to advance out of the Caribbean stages.
And then I think Club Sando is playing on the lower level. So it's 200 top tier. And then Club Sando is into, I don't know if it's the same CONCACAF thing, but some other lower level.
I don't expect much of even Port of Spain AC. This will be an experience for them, playing because they're a new club.
They have good older players and a couple of good young players.
I don't expect much. International football is something totally different to club football in Trinidad and Tobago. I remember playing against Cuban teams. The Cubans and the Jamaicans, they walk with everything. In athletics, they walk with their own water, they walk with their own chef, they walk with their, because those things are very possible in international football. You go to a restaurant and they have to cook for you, everybody ends up with diarrhea, bad water, because it's war. It's not war in the old way of guns, and international football is war. And this is a country against another country. If you didn't have that experience, you're going to be shell-shocked.
You mentioned Cuba. Cuba always produced good football.
Always,
I don't know
yes.
why they're not presently, but
Yeah.
they always had great players.
Great, great players. And every time they came or they traveled to play, the Jamaican athletes now, I remember talking to the Bahamian Prime Minister, and he was telling me that when they came for even the last Carifta Games that was held in the Bahamas, I was present. I had an invitation of the Bahamian Prime Minister, and I was present. And he said they walk with everything. They have a container that comes with all their food, all their produce, all their water. They don't even buy water from Bahamas. They walk with everything from home because they understand what international sports is. It's war.
Well, of course.
It's a friendly war, but it's war. So the only team in this trio that is prepared for that is the Army.
Because they're soldiers?
Because they're soldiers.
No, but I think Abu Bakr is playing for Port Spain.
What does that have to do?
Well, I'm saying Marvin is in goal. I mean, Abu and Marvin is two national players, just like Jovin and his brother.
Two national players who who don't normally play?
No, Marvin is our best goalkeeper right now.
Oh, right, Marvin Phillips.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Right. I thought he was talking about
Who Marvin?
the old Marvin who used to play for Sawa.
Oh, no.
Right, Rasta Marvin.
No. Yeah, so we are the top goalkeeper in the country, playing for Port Spain AC.
Okay.
So, I mean, we expect something out of them.
Out of those two players?
Well, no. I mean, they have some other guys around them. I think Bato might be with them. I'm not sure. One of the youngest one, or the older one, because I don't think so. But they have some good players who, who think. But anyhow, let's take a break because I am stumbling on those players, and I'll research it when we come back. We will get more into that. Viewers will be right back after a short break.
I come from a place where only happy people and pretty girl everywhere, yeah. I know life is rough, but we still a smile on we face, yeah. No matter how hard, man, we don't let tragedy face way. We could take strain, that's why when we festin', we just bet God when we jammin', we just jam down when we drinking, man it's strong rum, eh. Pop a bottle right now when we festin', we just bet God when we jammin', we just jam down when we drinking, man it's strong rum, eh. Pop a bottle, push up your hand, yeah. We see bodies we back, push up your hand, yeah. God bless this land, yeah. So we go jam down, oh la la, so we go wind down, oh yeah, so we go jam down. So we go wind down and in the air. If you're born right here in this land, where the vibes go and I say hand in the air. If you're born right here in this land, where the vibes go and I come from a place where even when it's tough we just live it up, it's amazing. When the battle hard we just pray to God for we safety. Yeah, I know that we safe, yeah. We gon' make it. Cause God is our trinity. When we festin', we just bet God when we jammin', we just jam down when we drinking, man it's strong rum, eh. Pop a bottle right now when we
Okay, welcome back, viewers. All right, Clarke, we're in our last segment here. So let's wrap up and talk about football in general in the country and talk about football players who is promising or who is showing some kind of good prospect, some kind of putting some life into the game. We also have SFA, which is going to start pretty soon. I think the 26th or something.
How many teams? How many?
They supposedly have 16 teams.
And how many levels? Right, different
Well,
age groups or just right a senior?
One senior SFA team.
And that's the problem, Steve. That's the problem right there.
What?
Because you have senior football again. Everybody's concentrating on that. But you have no developmental football. And therefore, right, I saw you had the president and the vice president as hosts on a show. And I would have loved to, I didn't look at the entire show, but I would have loved to shoot some questions at them. What are their plans for youth development?
They do have that.
But they're only having a senior league.
Well, not necessarily. They start with a senior league, just like... well,
why can't everything start? Because I remember what used to have the most engagement. You see, you want fans back into the thing. You see, you have to be strategic with how you rebuild football. Parents come with kids. Siblings come with kids from an area, right? And that's how the fan base is built, right? You look on television in the English Premier Leagues and those international leagues, you see the parents have their kids with them there. It's a custom thing. And if it is that you want to rebuild football, everything starts with the youths. So you're going to have a senior league again. Nobody's going to come to see any football, any senior football. What is the big thing about having this senior football? People may quicker come out to see youth football. That's why the fans go to see Intercol. More people go to see school football than they go to see senior football. So we keep concentrating on the adults. I'm not saying don't have a senior league, but your focus should be on youth development because the quality of the game is not up to standard. And it's not going to improve with the older players because you can't teach a old dog new tricks at this stage of the game. So yeah, all right, have your senior team, but it should be a criteria of these teams to have a youth team. And therefore, as the senior teams playing, Civic Center playing Sando Giants senior team, the youth game is before. And that is how you develop football. Just having a senior league again, it's not going to make sense. And if football won't improve.
But we don't have no league in Trinidad.
I understand that. So if you're starting over and you're going to start something, start it the right way.
But I'm saying don't beat up San Fernando, I mean SFA for that.
I'm not only beating up SFA, I'm saying that is...
Totally.
That is total. It's the same thing with the Super League and the...
what about your Premier League?
Right. Attention League, the Premier League. Yeah. Even the Pro League in the past, I've always complained that it didn't have a reserve league.
They did. One time.
One time. And then it quashed over 20 years of the of the Pro League. They didn't even have a reserve league. And they didn't have a structured league for the youths, right?
They did.
One time.
No, they had it, but they had it after the Pro League season finished. Then the youth league starts. On the 13, on the 15, on the 17, or under 14, under 16, under
You're right.
15.
Yes. I remember
They do that.
Hobby Connection had that, right? But that is what you have to do for the football to right, improve, right? That's what you have to do. So if you have a new, and again, people went out there asking for votes. What was your plan? What was, right, right, I'm going to organize a league again? What was your right structure? What was your right 5-year goal, your 3-year goal, your 5-year goal? What do we judge you on?
Well, they have a portfolio. They have a manifesto.
And did it include youth development?
And they have youth development.
Right, that sounds like normal politics. A lot of talk with no action.
Well, we're going to have to see. Don't beat
Yes,
them
all
up
right.
yet.
Okay.
Let's see what they come up with, because they are planning on all of that. I tell you what, they went out and get sponsorship for uniforms for all the clubs, which is more than anybody has done yet so far.
And that's going to bring the level of football
Well,
up.
no, wait, because I did that in my little under 14 tournament that I had in Point. We gave all the teams uniform. But so that is a start, right? So that is motivation.
Steve,
They look good.
let me tell you something.
And
I
so
don't
and so.
agree with you. You know why I don't agree with
beat
you?
them up. I tell you why.
You know why I
You're
don't
beating
agree
them
with
up
you?
Before you know.
Because
What?
the glory days when you had, and I always say this, there are 3 groups of teams that took Trinidad for 30 years after, right, the glory days of your days. They were the Kerry Jamison, Leonson Lewis, who were just a year older than us, Hudson Charles, and so on. There was the Anthony Clarkes, the Marvin Fostins, the Russell Attapes. That was the other group. And then there was the Dwight Yorks, the Gerard Nixons, the Angus Eves. That was the other group. That was like the under 16, the under 17, and the under 19s. That group of players carried Trinidad and Tobago's football. And then the senior team, right, the 4 groups were the Clayton Morris, the Brandon Williams, and so on.
Strike squad.
Right. Well, it wasn't right the strike squad at that time, but those players kept Trinidad and Tobago football for 30 years. And then there was no youth development. How did those players come up? We used to play under 12 football. North, South under 12. You used to come to carry me to some of those games, Steve, when I had to play under 12 football and so on. Right? And we had a nationwide under 12 tournament and under a 14 tournament. And that is how that crop of players became that good. Today, what we do, we don't focus on the youth game. And when I was at that age, I used to be coming to look at the senior players. When you were playing for Sando Strikers and you played for Helco at one point in time?
Yeah.
I was Carpet.
Yeah.
All right, that was Carpet, right? They played for Sanford Strikers, and when Carpet used to play for Telco, and even these companies had clubs and all these sort of things. For football to come, and that is my passion, for the game to reach back to the height that I know of the skill in Trinidad and Tobago.
I wait here patiently so you can put your foot deep into your mouth.
That,
right?
and I have a big foot, and I'll gladly do it.
And a big foot. And that same whole group you're talking about and all those players, they never had a youth league for them.
Who?
There was no youth league
Where?
anywhere in Trinidad for you guys that you're talking about. You guys are playing college.
No. We had, I remember playing for juniors, under 12. Juniors back in the day from San Fernando.
They had a league?
Yes, we had a league. And we had a league in South, and then they picked a North-South team, and North played South, and East played West, and so on. And eventually, what happened? South won, and then you had the National Under 13 team at that time, where the first time you heard about Russell Latapi. And you heard about Russell Latapi, and they say under 13. That's when you heard of Russell Latapi. Why don't we have, and they just went to Santo Domingo, and they won a tournament in Santo Domingo, and we were looking up to this Russell Latapi, and we won the 12. And then South Zone, they made the National Under 13 team that just came back from Santo Domingo, winning the competition in Santo Domingo, to play the South Under 12 team. And we gave them 3.
You jump into that.
I'm showing you youth development. I'm showing you youth football.
You ain't giving me a chance.
And the park was full with youth football.
No, there was no league for youth anywhere in
Steve,
Trinidad.
I played in the league. You weren't even here.
4 games, maybe 2 or 3 games.
No, there was a South League that juniors used to play with right Leisure and you had Diamond Village had a youth team. They had a youth league.
A minor league?
Huh?
A minor league.
A
Not
league
SFA.
that played in SFA, a league that played in San Fernando.
Let me back you up. Let me rewind. You said that they should be playing together, like the youth team should play first and the other team should play after. That never happened.
No, that never happened.
Okay.
Right, that never happened.
All right. And so the youth league come after. If it comes after, it's still the Pro League had something like that.
Yes, and yes, I agree with that. Yeah.
So, but you're beating up SFA for not playing together with the.
No, I'm not beating up SFA for not playing together, for starting at the same time. What I'm saying is that even if they had to do that, because of organization, for a youth team to play before the thing,
big team,
they could have started it now. That's what I'm saying. That's the point I'm trying to make, that the youth program should start now, not later down the road. Why? You already have problems with crowd attendance. So, right, try to bring people into the game, and the parents will come more than the adult people. So use your strategy on trying to get people into the games and let the youth team play prior to. So I'm not saying it happened before. I'm saying that's a strategy they can use now.
Right.
But they should have started the youth program now. That's my point.
Okay, and let me give you some other things that affects that. With the school. With
School
the
is out.
Huh?
School is out.
No, but school now going out.
And the league now going to start?
All right, but okay. So during this break is a good time to start.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
I agree with that.
That's the point I'm making. When are you going to start it after this? After school reopens? So that's the point I'm making. You're going to start a league now. You should have also started the youth program now because school is out.
Okay, maybe they're listening to you.
I hope so.
So.
And I'll call Alwyn Ferguson because I see he's the vice president. I will certainly give him a call. Certainly give him a call.
Dennis Latif is the
I don't know Dennis too much. I would love to meet Dennis. I know Michael Morris is there, so I can have a word with Mike as well.
Right.
But that is what has happened. We must focus on youth football for us to have improvement in this country.
Okay, so that's SFA. What is your advice for the national football?
Nationwide.
Okay.
That's for our TTFA. That's for the Ascension League. That is for the Premier League. They must incorporate youth football with whatever they're doing right now.
Okay, so the Premier League now, that's finishing in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Now, what are they going to do? They started long time. Well, not long.
Well, I understand the approach for this. That was to make sure that teams were in a groove to qualify for the Caribbean tournament.
Okay, so they start back in September again.
Right.
That's school time.
And if that happens, if that happens, and let me tell you something that, you know the 2 top school football teams right now in Trinidad and Tobago?
2 top?
School, college teams.
St. Benedict and Fatima?
No. Not because they won.
They are the best players?
No.
Okay.
Presentation College and Naparima College has been at the helm for years. For the last 6 years, they have been at the helm. All right? Why have they been at the helm? Because strategically, W Connection send their coaches. No, here, forget it's W Connection.
Me.
No, forget it's W Connection. But I'm just showing you the vision.
Yeah.
W Connection
Send the
partnered with college teams.
with NAPS.
Right, with NAPS and Prez. Right, because they sent coaches to NAPS and coaches to Prez. Because that's where they saw their youth teams, right, for the youth tournament. That is where they brought their players from. So they volunteered coaches, they paid the coaching staff and sent their coaches, right, in those teams to ensure the youths at that level had good coaching so that when they came to the club, they would have been at a certain level already. Back in the day, you know, the sports teacher used to be the football coach, and right, you never had structured coaching like that, right? And those two teams have led the Colleges League for the past 6 years because of that strategy. Clubs could adopt a school team in their area and do the same thing, right? Whereby the youth development, don't wait until college, because college league right level is right not that high either. So don't wait until college league is done, then to try to get them to do something over the August holidays, and then they go back to school and they can't play for a club again. Partner with schools in the area. It's a new time, right? You don't have sports clubs like in the past before. You had the juniors and the this, and those clubs were the clubs that actually did the coaching of school of youths in the area and so on. You don't have that again. So therefore, this is a way that the senior clubs could partner with schools in the area and do that type of program.
You know what I like with you, or what I like with this show, is that while you're telling me this, everybody listening to it, so I don't have to repeat it.
Wonderful.
Good. So now that we come to the end of the show, I want to thank you for being here and giving us all the plans that we should use to improve our football. Clarke, thank you so much, bud.
It's always a pleasure, Steve, being here.
All right. Viewers, thank you for tuning in every Tuesday night at 8. We love when you do that. Keep tuning in. NCBN TT, thanks for the opportunity. We also have a Facebook page. Viewers, you can check us out. And we have an email address, fieldofdreamstt@gmail.com, where you can drop us a line. This show has ended. Go in peace. I'm Steve David. Good night.